Amidst the shadows of the late 19th century, Europe stood on the brink of an epochal transformation, a transformation that would reshape the world's geopolitical landscape and forever alter the fate of Africa. In the heart of Berlin, Germany, in 1884, the world's leading European powers gathered, under the guise of a peaceful assembly, to carve up the African continent like a colossal jigsaw puzzle. The conference, officially known as the Conference of Berlin, was a diplomatic spectacle that brought together the major European powers, including Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, and Portugal, among others. The ostensible purpose of the conference was to address the increasing tension and chaos in Africa, fueled by the relentless quest for territorial expansion, resources, and commercial opportunities. The African continent, largely unexplored and unknown to most Europeans, was a vast, untapped reservoir of wealth and potential. Rich in resources like gold, diamonds, and ivory, Africa was an irresistible prize to the imperial powers of Europe, who sought to extend their empires and assert their dominance on the global stage. However, the scramble for Africa was not a new phenomenon. European powers had been gradually encroaching upon African territories for decades, establishing colonies, forging alliances, and asserting their influence. The Berlin Conference, nevertheless, marked a significant turning point, as it set the stage for a systematic and coordinated division of Africa, a process that was to be overseen and legitimized by the major European powers. The conference, presided over by Otto von Bismarck, Chancellor of Germany, was driven by a complex web of political, economic, and strategic considerations. The European powers sought to protect their existing territories, secure access to vital resources, and prevent their rivals from gaining an unfair advantage. The Berlin Conference, therefore, was not merely a diplomatic affair. It was a power play of monumental proportions, a struggle for supremacy that would have far-reaching consequences for Africa and the world. The conference produced what is now known as the General Act of the Berlin Conference, a set of rules and guidelines that would govern European activities in Africa. The Act established a set of principles that aimed to prevent conflict and ensure a fair and orderly division of African territories. The Act, however, was largely a facade, a veil that obscured the true nature of the European powers' intentions. The aftermath of the Berlin Conference was a grim testament to the failure of the General Act. The European powers, driven by greed and ambition, plunged headlong into a frenzy of territorial expansion. They carved up the African continent like a map, each power claiming vast swathes of land, displacing millions of Africans, and imposing their institutions, cultures, and values upon the continent. The Berlin Conference marked the beginning of a new era, an era of imperial conquest and colonization that would last for decades. The scramble for Africa was a dark chapter in the history of human civilization, a chapter marked by violence, exploitation, and oppression. The impact of the Berlin Conference and the European powers' colonization of Africa would reverberate through the decades, shaping the continent's political, economic, and social landscape for generations to come. The Berlin Conference of 1884 was a turning point in history, a pivotal moment that forever altered the course of Africa and the world. The conference, motivated by greed, ambition, and a thirst for power, brought about a systematic and coordinated division of the African continent, a division that would have devastating consequences for the people of Africa. The Berlin Conference, in many ways, exemplified the darker side of human nature, a side that revels in conquest and domination. Yet, it is essential to remember that history is not merely a tale of darkness, it is also a story of resilience, courage, and hope. The people of Africa, despite the odds, have persevered, and their story is one of strength and determination in the face of adversity. The Berlin Conference may have marked the beginning of a dark chapter in Africa's history, but it is far from the end of the story. The people of Africa continue to strive for a brighter future, a future that is shaped by their own aspirations, dreams, and values.